Now, residents around the Vaal Dam are mopping up today, moving out of possible danger areas and salvaging whatever they can after last weekend's flooding. Various properties have been severely damaged after the dam's floodgates were opened, leaving residents stranded and appealing for help to get to safety. Our senior reporter Slindelo Masikane is monitoring these operations and is joining us now from the Relocation District Municipality's offices in the Vaal area. Good afternoon, Slindelo. Welcome to today and thanks for your time. So tell us, what's the latest the authorities are saying about the state of play in the Vaal area following this flooding?
Essentially, Bardan, we've heard from the Human Settlements MEC, who has essentially described the situation in the Vaal area, in particular in the flooded areas, as a dire situation. He says that, those who have built along floodlines, those who live along riverbanks have been the ones who have been most badly affected by the flooding, not only from the rainfall, but from the water that's been released from the Vaal Dam downstream into the river because of the capacity that the Vaal Dam can take. It was oversubscribed, so water had to be released, and there was a warning from the Water and Sanitation Department the day before yesterday that people who are living along riverbanks, who've built on floodlines, need to evacuate. And when my colleague Joe Koman and I were there this morning, you could actually see just how bad the situation is. I mean, many families who are living along these riverbanks have had their homes completely submerged underwater, and they've had to find refuge either with friends, family, or relatives. At this point, we do understand that there is a search and rescue operation underway for at least 2 people who are missing following those floods, and we understand that one of them is a child. We also know that around 329 people have been affected, and that at least 2 families, Bradan, refused to be evacuated. Let's take a listen to the MEC just elaborating more on what is known so far about the situation.
Know that there's about 329 people who are affected by this unfortunate disaster. I'll call it disaster for a lack of a better word. Don't say I've declared a disaster. I don't have that power. So there's about 329 of them. There's 2 of them who are missing, and I think one of them is a child. And I think there's 2 families that have refused to be evacuated. There are families that have been evacuated.
And what about relief, Slindelo? What kind of relief is being provided?
Well, at this point, the situation, of course, is still being assessed, Bardan, but the relief that is going to be provided will, of course, have to be the relocation of those who have had their homes destroyed, who had built on the floodlines. What the MEC was stressing today was the fact that there is an issue around the fact that there are certain groups or organizations who lobby people to, occupy land, and usually that land is close to riverbanks and is essentially unsafe, and people should not be building there. So he says that the plan is to relocate them, but also saying that it's a bit of a tricky situation in the fact that there are people who are already on housing waiting lists, who have been waiting for years, but of course government recognizes that this is a crisis type situation, that these people will also have to be prioritized, but also saying that it's going to have to be somewhat of a balancing act in terms of providing some of that relief. Let's take a listen.
We need, I don't want to call it state of emergency because that's something else, but I think we need to be as quick as we can because the situation here is dire. It's actually bad for the people of this region where we are. And I think it's unfair and it's a disservice. We must act not only in words, not only in making budgets available, because budgets are available, but sometimes they are not utilized or they are not utilized properly.
Okay, some of the remarks there, Slindelo, by Lebogang Maile, the MEC for Cooperative Governance in Gauteng. Finally, I mean, residents have been badly affected. Yesterday, you showed us those visuals of a number of homes submerged, including some businesses, and the sentiment on the ground was not really positive towards government to say we need the support. What did you pick up today, I mean, as they are trying to regroup and mop up?
I think the sentiments remain the same, brother. And I mean, listening to the MEC, he seems to be under the impression that local authorities have been on the ground, they are assisting communities, but when you go into some of those affected, they're saying we're still waiting to find out, we're still waiting to hear from authorities in terms of how they're going to assist us in terms of rebuilding. I mean, some people don't want to be relocated. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what unfolds over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks, in terms of the relocations or the rebuildings of some of these homes. But, speaking to an elderly couple this morning, Bradan, quite heartbreaking, because you can tell that they have essentially retired in the Van der Bijl Park area. Their home was completely destroyed by the flooding. Furniture is gone. All they're left with is the clothes on their back. And for them, what they're most grateful for, of course, is not only that they're alive, but the fact that the community at large really assisted them when they needed it the most, especially in terms of getting them out of their homes when they were trapped by the water. So at this point, we have people just kind of anxious, kind of desperate to know, what's going to happen moving forward. But of course, a lot of sadness as well, because many people have really lost everything, Bradan. Many people are going to have to literally start over.